So this is the Hammock gear hammock. It's very aptly named. I just want to walk you through some of the features of this hammock. I've actually done a separate video where I've set the bug net up differently, but in this video I've set it up how the company actually recommends to do it. So you can see, if you're familiar with hammocks, it's strung between two trees, and I'll come back to that in a second. But what's the feature that you may notice about the Hammock gear hammock is that it has a kind of ridge line here, which is actually structural. It's important for the hammock to have that ridge line running between, but what makes it useful is they also do a separate bug net, which I've also attached, which, if you actually have a look, is wrapped round the entire hammock. So your next question is going to be, well, how do you get inside? And the answer is that there's actually, you can get in from the bottom here. So you would sit side onto the hammock like you used to. You kind of sit sideways facing me this way. You'd get up inside, bring your legs up and turn side on, and then you can just pull a toggle cord to just close that down. And then the ends of this actually just toggle up nice and tight, so the insects can't get in through there either. The advantage of doing it this way is that it naturally, the ridge line is going to keep the bug net off your face, so that's useful. It basically just gives you a little bit more room inside, and it also will give you a little bit more airflow through it if it's a hot day like it is today. For attaching them, they have these fantastic daisy straps. If you're terrible with knots, you're absolutely going to love daisy straps, because if you look between each section here, there's actually two little bits of fabric that you can put between, and I've done that, see from here. So what I would recommend is run this around a tree at least twice. Ideally you're looking for a tree that's wider than the span of your hand, so that you know that it's definitely going to be strong enough. My recommendation is pick something roughly about eye height for where you run the straps round. You can then run them twice or three times round, and then pass them back through the daisy loop on both sides, and you're effectively locking it off without having to actually tie a knot. What's cool about that then with these daisy straps is that you can put the carabiner in to one that you pick, but if you then need to tighten it up slightly, you're not messing around with the ratchet or anything. You simply unclip the carabiner and move it one up to just increase the tension or decrease the tension. The recommendation for hammocks is to set up between about 12 feet to 15 feet, which I think I've pretty much done here. And you should see, if you've got this right, you should see the hammock is about 18 inches to 12 inches off the ground, which it is here. I'm actually not that heavy, I only weigh about 170 pounds, so I don't push a hammock down too much. Same on the other side, you can see I've done the same thing, and you can adjust. So there'll always be a little bit of extra of this daisy strap in theory, so you just can take up a bit of slack. Packed up, it packs up pretty small. Weight wise, from memory, I think it only weighs about 13 ounces. And the bug net comes separately, it's about 40 bucks, I think. The Hammock gear actually do a separate hammock and bug net, and they also do a hammock bug net together where the bug net zips in. I actually prefer this configuration because it means I can travel even lighter if I don't need a bug net. There are plenty of places in Europe where it's not necessarily so necessary. It's terrible English. But also the other advantage is, if I'm not using the hammock sometimes, this bug net is so good, I would take that with me anyway to just throw over me and climb inside when I'm camping anyway. So I actually prefer the separate option because it gives me more options. So there you go. That's a super quick look at the Hammock gear hammock, just set up exactly how they recommend.